Why do some people enter a room and instantly dominate it without saying a single word? It's not luck. It's not even raw intelligence. It's a hidden mental algorithm. A brain hack that rewires how they see, think, and control. And it's something 99% of people will never learn, because no one ever told them the mind has a second layer. In this video, you'll discover that layer. This isn't just a trick. It's a weapon, forged from Machiavellian thinking, dark psychology, and strategic awareness. And if you stay till the end, I'll reveal the exact mental shift that unlocks a level of intelligence far beyond any genius alive. Now let's begin with one brutal truth. Your intelligence isn't fixed. What limits it is how you've been trained to think, reactively, emotionally, and constantly distracted. But once you reprogram your brain to think strategically, everything changes. You stop reacting. You start designing. And the world begins to respond to your perception, not just your presence. The first shift begins with silence, not the absence of sound, but the presence of awareness. Most people fear silence because it exposes the noise in their own minds. But Machiavellian thinkers weaponize silence. They observe while others reveal, and in that gap, they gain control. True intelligence doesn't shout. It doesn't rush to speak. It calculates. It listens. It absorbs everything: words, reactions, micro-expressions, and stores it like ammunition. This is what Machiavelli understood. Power isn't in motion. It's in the pause before the move. When you master that pause, your timing becomes surgical. Your words, rare and sharp. Your presence, magnetic. And here's the brain hack. Instead of trying to know more, train your mind to see differently. Rewire your perception from emotion to structure. Ask, what is this person not saying? What's the incentive behind their behavior? What pattern hides in the chaos? Because once you learn to spot hidden motives, you no longer play the game, you start designing it. This is where intelligence transforms into strategy. Ordinary minds respond, strategic minds predict. They don't wait to be manipulated. They anticipate manipulation like weather patterns and stay 10 moves ahead. Here's the truth. People don't hide what they want. They hide how badly they want it. And when you can see that, you control the conversation, the frame, and the outcome. Machiavelli didn't win through strength. He won through clarity. He knew that the one who sees the most clearly controls the most silently. So he trained his mind to detach from emotion and lock onto patterns. You must do the same. Practice mental minimalism. Eliminate emotional noise. Focus on what matters. Intent, leverage, outcome. Every reaction you don't give becomes power you keep. And every insight you gather becomes influence you don't have to force. Because the sharpest minds don't chase control. They attract it through stillness, awareness, and precision. Strategic intelligence is not about thinking more. It's about thinking differently. Most people overthink you need to outthink. So here's the Machiavellian shift. Every situation you face is not a problem. It's a structure of power, motives, incentives, and weaknesses. Decode that structure, and you never need to dominate, you simply navigate. That's what this brain hack unlocks. You begin to see reality as it is, not as emotion paints it. Think of it this way. When others are reacting to the heat, you're reading the thermostat. When they're caught in chaos, you're already adjusting the system. This is how mental dominance begins, not by controlling others, but by commanding your own lens. Silence isn't retreat, it's calibration. Because the strategist knows. The quieter you become, the more you notice. And the more you notice, the less anyone can hide from you. Now here's where the brain hack becomes dangerous. Once you master silence, you weaponize it, not as absence of words, but as presence of awareness. People reveal more when you say less. They fill silence with confession, contradiction, and clues. So while they talk to convince you, listen to diagnose, you're no longer participating, you're positioning. Here's the shift. Most minds chase certainty. Your mind chases structure. You don't react to outcomes, you study the system that produced them. And from there, you begin to make moves no one anticipates. You say less, act cleaner, and your impact multiplies. This is the moment intelligence becomes untouchable, because now you're not thinking harder, you're thinking like no one else. At this level, perception becomes your superpower. You walk into rooms, and without speaking, you know the energy. Who's insecure? Who's posturing? Who's hiding something? Why? Because your mind no longer looks at people. It reads them. You detect micro-expressions, vocal shifts, contradictions in tone, and while others absorb noise, you extract intel. Now combine that with your emotional discipline, and you become impossible to manipulate. No one can guilt you, bait you, or gaslight you because your inner clarity dismantles external deception. This is strategic intelligence, the kind that commands respect before you even speak. Because when your presence carries certainty, people align, or they exit. Strategic intelligence isn't just awareness, it's action rooted in flawless timing. You don't argue, you don't chase, you position and pull strings silently. While others get emotionally hijacked, you remain grounded, observing the full chessboard. Because in this game, power doesn't go to the loudest, it goes to the sharpest. And the sharpest mind is trained in silence, refined through pressure, and unleashed through intentional moves. This is the level where you no longer need to dominate, because your clarity intimidates more than force ever could. Now, if you want to turn this mindset into daily dominance, the next videos will show you exactly how. How to rewire thought patterns, how to predict manipulation, and how to control without control. Watch them. Don't skip them. They're not tips, they're weapons. If you've made it this far, you're not like most, you're here to evolve. And if that's true, don't just watch. Subscribe, like, and share this with someone who's ready to outgrow the average. Because this isn't entertainment, it's a blueprint. And the next step is in your hands. So here's the real test. If you had the power to reprogram your mind for absolute clarity and control, would you actually use it? Or would you let your old patterns pull you back? Tell me, what's the one belief about intelligence you were taught that you now question the most?